Hello everyone and welcome on by to the channel. So I used to do beginner friendly builds and I did them for the heavy armor professions, and I recently realized that I never finished it for the other armors, and considering the Steam release I thought it would be a great time to start up that series again. And today we're continuing with the medium armor profession of the Ranger. The Ranger is fairly beginner friendly if you're looking for a medium armor class with a pet, long-range weapons, and some nice and sturdy melee weapons as well. So for this, let's get into the gear, runes, and then all of the specs and skills. Let's take a look at the gear that I'm running with. I wanted this to be beginner friendly, so I chose stats that should be, oh hello Moa, chose stats that should be accessible to most newer players. So I've decided to go with the Knight's stat, giving me power, precision, and toughness. In terms of the rune, this one is a little expensive right now on the trading post, but it's very in line. I chose the superior rune of the Ranger, giving me increased precision and additional ferocity. As for the weapons, I'm running with his sword, which is also Knight's, power, precision, and toughness, and I've decided to go with the longbow for my second weapon, giving myself increased range access, and for this, it's Berserker, so if I wanted more damage, I would go with that. As for my accessories, this is where you can go full Berserker. Bulk of your defense is on your armor and a weapon here, and then over with your back items, your accessories, I went full Berserker, giving me increased damage so that I can kill enemies fairly quickly. Now let's head over to the specs and talk about the role that I'm playing. For beginner friendly, I wanted to balance a little bit of self-preservation, self-defense, with still upkeeping damage and making sure that you continue to move throughout your time in the game. So for marksman, I've decided to go with Hunter's Gaze, gaining might when you strike a foe based on their health percentage. I'm taking Moment of Clarity, giving myself an attack opportunity when I interrupt a foe. Also, my dazes and stuns have an increased duration. And then finally, Predator's Onslaught. You and your pet deal increased strike damage to disabled or movement impaired foes. This kind of plays in line with the Moment of Clarity, attack opportunity, dazing and stunning my target, and then gaining additional damage out of this. Next, for Nature's Magic, this is where some more self-preservation comes into play with a little bit of damage increases. I'm taking Bountiful Hunter. You deal increased strike damage for each boon affecting you. Your pet deals increased strike damage for each boon affecting it. This is plus 1% damage per boon, which can add up quite nice, especially in group content. Taking Spirited Arrival, grant boons to nearby allies when swapping pets, this being Vigor and Fury, both very important for defensive dodging and increasing critical strike chance. And then finally, Protective Ward. This was the last one where I was like, I don't know what else to take. I guess I'll take Protective Ward. This is when you receive damage, nearby foes are weakened, and you gain protection. And finally, Beast Mastery. I've decided to run with Resounding Timber. Commands apply additional boons around you, gaining reduced recharge. This goes into the Bountiful Hunter, boons increase damage. Next step, Two-Handed Training. Greatsword and Spear skills deal more damage and recharge faster. Gain Fury when you disable a foe. Disabling, giving me Fury, giving me more damage, and then Predator's Onslaught, even increasing my damage further. And then finally, for the Grandmaster, I've decided to take Beastly Warden. Beast abilities taunt nearby foes. I really wish that this taunt was a little bit longer of a duration in PvE, maybe around like 4 or 5 seconds, but this is something to redirect the aggro on any enemies from you to your pet if they are on you. And it's on a 20-second cooldown, which lines up pretty well with my pet's Blue Moa. Protecting Screech. I've decided to run with the Blue Moa as it gives additional protection as well. Secondary weapon can be something more damage focused. I've decided to run with the Drake. So all of these specs lined up, a little bit of damage, a little bit of support, a little bit of extra damage, and augmenting how you play with Beast Mastery. And then as for the skills, we heal as one, heal yourself and your pet. You each gain copies of each other's boons. For more passive playstyles for beginner builds, signets are great because you can rely on the passive and then use the active if you want to. So I'm taking Signet of Stone and Signet of the Wild. Stone being your defensive signet, improving your toughness of yourself and your pet. And then also if you activate this, you will take no damage for 6 seconds. Signet of the Wild, increasing my ferocity on myself and pet. And this also provides you an Immobilize, which allows you to control the battlefield just a little bit. And then finally, for my utility skills before we get to the elite, Protect Me, which is a stun break, gives myself barrier, also grants protection to myself and the pet. Of course, with the traits, this will also give regen and swiftness. Finally, commands, Strength of the Pack. This is where you can really get a lot of might out with yourself and your pet. So yeah, a lot of great boon uptime with some of your skill choices. You can also mix and match certain skills to fit your playstyle more poignantly. But let's head on over and let's fight a one of these Orion giants. But the thing about the Greatsword, which is really nice, is that you actually get a very nice block with this ability on counterattack. Block incoming attacks. If an attack is blocked, counterattack kick can be used, which is a nice interrupt, getting some dazes and all of that. Just completed an event. But let's send in our Moa. We can also swap over to the longbow if we want to just play like this, or we can gain some extra space and prevent ourselves from being in melee combat. But let's swoop on in and just start using our second attack. Our second attack on our Greatsword. Oh, we're going to break the stun out of that, gain some additional barrier. Oh, we're going to dodge. Very nice. We're going to use Rampage's 1. The second attack will give our pet an attack opportunity, making them deal more damage. Now we're going to block some attacks. There we go. Very nice. And as you can see, we're quite sturdy, mixing in both dodging and auto attacks. I feel like, especially for mobs out in the open world, we're able to kill them fairly quickly. And then these giants having more health, we're still able to confront them with ease, I would say. If we wanted to have many enemies around us, we can pop our 8th skill to immobilize them and get out of dodge, then allowing us to go to our longbow. And see, we're finally getting to half health. We could use Protect Me to gain additional barrier if we don't want to use our healing skill just yet, but then we can dodge out of that. We can use our We Heal as 1 to gain additional healing as well. And overall, this build is very beginner friendly. It allows you to survive out in the open world, especially if you're playing in endgame zones such as a Raw and Ore. I'm never super scared of my time playing here. We're going to move our Moa over here. We're going to get a taunt out. So that's the thing about the taunt. It's really low duration, so sometimes when enemies are fighting, they're not actually finished cycling their attack. So by the time the taunt ends, they just go right back to you. So that's one reason why I would like to see the taunt just increased a little bit. But if you're able to get the taunt off before they start their auto attack and their next attack, they will shift their focus to your pet. We'll use the Screech again, getting taunt on them, making sure that our pets gain protection, as well as applying protection to myself because of our pet's beast ability. Get some more damage out here. Also using our 5th attack, Hilt Bash, I believe will reset the cooldown of Maul. So you can get 2 Mauls out pretty nicely, increasing the damage of your pet. Swoop is nice to gain some distance and to hone in on your target. Also, this is a little bit of an evasion during duration while swinging. And yeah, if we wanted to focus more on long-range combat, you can just target the Risen and then send your pet in alone. Use your barrage. Oh, our pet got stunned a little bit. And yeah. So with the longbow being a little bit more power focused, as I put some berserker stats on the longbow, if you don't want to play in melee or it's perhaps a little too dangerous, you could totally play it ranged with this spec. And that's a good thing about beginner builds, is I want to focus on bringing a little bit of flexibility, both melee focus and long-ranged focus, allowing you to dip in and out of combat depending on your situation and what you're looking for. Of course, emphasizing the dodge, a mechanic that is available to all professions, allowing you to evade attacks and survive a bit longer. And that is the build, everyone, trying to hit a nice balance between melee and ranged combat, big hits, big crits, while also providing some nice defense to ourselves with our weapon abilities, as well as our utility selections. And I've actually really enjoyed this Woodland Warrior build. Thank you all for coming on by. Like the video if you liked it, comment down below your thoughts about this build, and comment maybe what profession you'd like to see next. I might stick around the medium armors, finish those, and then head on over to the light armor professions. But any suggestions, I would love to hear it. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to the Patreon, get early access to videos. If you would like to try out Guild Wars 2 or purchase the expansions, I also have links down below, but it's also released on Steam, and you can catch me on Twitch every day of the week playing Guild Wars 2 and other MMOs. Thank you for coming on by, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone! Mwah.